The classes,
Oh,
sorry, let me try to do this. Please, all of you mute yourself. Okay, thank you. So what I was saying is like the classes and the object, their primary reason we want to use a C++ because the security is good and accessibility of the data, it's well enhanced. All right. So everything depends on a class and the class and the object. And this class and the object, they have what is called the attribute and the method. From the previous class, you know well, I'm not going to repeat it for what we have seen the last week. So in today, we are going to see how the object they're going to be used. Let's take an example of an object in our day-to-day life. When you talk of a car, okay, when you say a car, when you say a house, all these things that the object, they are the object. Every object must have the attribute. The attribute may be, for example, if we look to the example which we gave here, if we say a car, the attribute of a car, it can be the weight of the car, the color of the car. You can also give like the car may be two-wheeler or three-wheelers, okay? Three-wheelers or four-wheelers. If it is two-wheeler, it will not be a car, sorry. So it might have the weight, the color. Let's take this as attribute or characteristics, right? So when we take to the method, we can drive a car, we can put the gear, we can pull the gear, we can also pull the brake. So these are the method or the function or the behavior of our object, right? The weight, the color, they're the attribute, things which describe or description of a car. The function of a car, of a method of a car, is to move or to be driven or to take a break. All right. So uh, we say in the previous class that the attributes, they're always known as a method. They're not known as variables. And the method, they're known as function. And all of these two things, they make what is known as the members of the class. Okay, they're the members of class. We may have the data member or the method member. And this is the way as you can see, this is how we create the class. The class a keyword, class name is my class, and we have the access specifier, which is a public, means this member variable, they can be accessed anywhere in the class, which are, let's say my number and my string can be like my name. These are the attribute. And then we end the class by semicolon. And next thing which you have to know is like the definition of the class. We have seen that the object is the instance of a class. When you say instance, is like a physical copy of a class. So when you define a class, every time you define a class does not allot any memory in OS, operating system, or in a storage. So when you declare an object, that moment, the class or the memory is going to be allotted. So keep this in mind. Whenever an object is an instance of a class does not allocate a memory. The memory is allocated when a class is declared, right? So how are you going to create a class? I mean, how are you going to declare the variable or the object? Okay, how the object is going to be created, declared. So this is the class, as you can see on the top of this. I can see, you can see from the starting line from int main, there are two ways of declaring the object. We can declare object at class definition, or we can declare the object at the main function outside of the main, outside of the class. All right, outside of a class definition. So this is the way we take the class name and followed by the object name, because the class name is the user defined data type or abstract data type. All right, so this is the class name, my class, and the object name is my object. And kindly let me call Induredi, you can do me a favor. You can take a screenshot, or Ashish, one of you, you can do screenshot and send to my WhatsApp so that I can take attendance. I have a very short time for those who are in the class. And this is a class, the object declaration. And if you want to access the member variables, these are the member variable which we have, or the data variable, my number and my string, we use this operator, which is called access operator. Okay, this dot is access operator, and the public is access specifier, where the member variable, where the data member, where the member, member function are going to be accessed. All those things, they comes under the access specifier, and we use access operator. This dot is known as access operator. Thank you so much, Indu. This dot is access operator. We want to access the members of our class. All right. This is the creation of the class. Class name. In a syntax, how do you do by doing syntax? In a syntax, let me try to see if I can. Okay. All right. So okay. No issue. So maybe for the next, I will show you on a whiteboard. And this is the class name. Let's take an example of which we have the Cal is a class. Cal is a class, as you can see here. Cal is a class from the beginning. And the class can be, you may have a bland, you may have a mod. Let's say we have Audi, or you have a BMW, is a bland. The mod can be 2020 mod. Okay, it can be like, it can be BMW W20, that's a mod. The year 2020 is an integer, which is a year. All right. So these are called the data members. The access specifier is a public. Okay, it's a public. And we want to create an object. An object, as you remember, whenever we create a class is a logical. So we want to create something which is going to be physical. So to make it physical, we have to create an object. All right. So the logic can be the bland, the mod, and the year. But you want to have this copy, the hard copy of it. Okay. How will we do? We have to create an object. So we create Cal is a class name. Cal object 1 is object 1. So we want to access the member, data members. We use access specifier, this dot. Object name dot. The member data members. These are data member, which is a bland. Bland is a BMW, and the mod is X5, and the year is 19. This, my car is too old. I'm sorry. I'm supposed to put here 2020 at least. All right. So this is the number 1. So this is a way of creating an object. You can create more than one object. Depend on how many objects do you have, or what things you want to print. For example, this was one object. One object was for BMW, the another object for the Ford car. Okay, you may have the Ford car. So instead of using array or structure, we use the classes to print multiple variables with the different data types. All right, with the different data types. So this is the way we create an object. Is a multiple object. All right, multiple object, creating multiple object. From the previous one, as you remember, this is the way we create an object. An object is an instance of class, and the instance of class, it's always allocate the memory when it is declared, to recap. And you have to give the syntax. Syntax is class name, space, object name, semicolon. Okay, in the main function, or we can define it at what? You can declare it at function, at a class definition. And so we have a 3-access specifier. We want to access the data members. We can access the data member or the member function publicly, privately protected. Okay, so this is a question which sometimes be used during interview or exam. Okay, explain the access specifier. Three access specifier, what are they? Public, private, protected. When you're answering this in a C++, put in a heading, put on the heading that C++, by default, the access specifier is a private. By default, the access specifier is a private. What do I mean? You may say, sir, what do you mean? What I mean is, if here you did not mention public, as you can see here, class cal, if you do not mention, sorry, okay, if you do not mention public or protected or private here, what will happen is this will be these things will be private. Okay, you can access them privately. So the public can be accessed out of the class. Private cannot be accessed or viewed outside of the class. Protected, let me try to move myself. The protected can be accessed outside of the class, but to the inherited class. Okay, protected is used in inheritance. All right, so these are what? These are the access specifiers. These are the access specifiers. Hold on a minute, I just want to, my time is up. I just want to finish this within 1 minute. So the access specifier, private, within the same class, yes. Delivered class, no. Okay, outside the class, no. Protected, within the class, yes. Delivered class, yes. Outside the class, no. Public, yes. Within the class, derived class, outside of the class. Thank you so much for today's class. For the next class, we shall see more about the access specifiers. If there is a question,